Many times our needs may be overwhelming, and at times we struggle to bring things together. We struggle to acknowledge the fact that God is our source, and we put our trust and our faith in what we've been able to achieve by ourselves on our own. So that's the reason why I've compiled this, what I call 10 unbelievable testimonies of God's supernatural provisions. If you're able to share, can you please share so that your friends can see this video? And the reason why I decided to bring it all together in one place is so that, there are times when you become overwhelmed and you just need a boost of faith. So, like the paracetamol that people will take when they have a headache, or, your debit card that you swipe when you have need. This is one video that will boost your faith when you're trusting God for something, or when you're wondering, how is this going to happen? So there are 10 testimonies that I've put together, and I hope they bless you. Now, there are people who should be here. Let me just share this quickly on Thy Precious Jewels, because I don't think they received the notification this morning. This is impromptu, so join us live now. If you're able to share, can you please share or tag your friends? I know quite a few people will be at work right now, but then they will meet this video a bit later on. So the first testimony to share with you, if you've been following me, joining my prayers, you may have heard some of these testimonies before, but you can still listen, and it can still be a blessing to you. So some years ago, it was Mother's Day, and I said to my husband, I said, I know what I want for Mother's Day. I've got this blazer. There were two blazers. They were Ralph Lauren blazers. There was a pink. It was very beautiful pink, and then there was a white one. And I said, I want these blazers for Mother's Day. I mean, I've been a fantastic mom. You have to hype yourself. You have to appreciate yourself, even if people don't appreciate you. So I said, I do need these blazers. I want them as a gift for Mother's Day. And my husband said, oh, well, leave me alone, you know. And I said to him, I said, if you don't appreciate me as a mother, I said, God will, because God will give me these blazers, even if you don't. So I then left home and I went for a walk. As I was coming back from this fitness journey, I received an alert on my phone. And the amount of money that was sent to me that day was just unbelievable. When you have somebody deposit like 285.68, I thought, oh, why would somebody send me this amount of money? But of course, that a lot of people are very weird in the kind of conversations that they have with God. So I knew immediately that somebody had had a conversation with God somewhere and they sent that amount of money. So I logged in when I got home and I found out who sent the money. And I said, hey, you sent some money to me. And she said, yes. I was just going through the internet and I saw some Ralph Lauren blazers. And I thought this would be really good on Mama. So I decided to send the money to you. So somebody somewhere in the United Kingdom picked it that I wanted those blazers and they sent the money to my account. But of course, you know what I did? I bought the blazer because that was what I told God that I needed. That went really quickly. My husband was, of course, he's used to all my funny testimonies of, God meeting my needs supernaturally. And it was just there laughing. And I said to him in his face, I said, my husband, I told you that my father would give me a Mother's Day present. So are you listening to me this morning? And you have been making a demand, maybe of your husband, maybe of your employer. It is your right. It is something you've worked hard for, and they're holding back. Now you've heard it. If God will bypass my husband to give me Ralph Lauren blazers, I just wanted them. I really liked them and I wanted them. And I said to God, This is a blessing for me. This is what I desire as a Mother's Day gift. So that is one testimony. Please be counting because I may lose count. So the second testimony was that some years ago, I was traveling out. I was traveling to Australia. And it was after a period of time where I'd been working so hard on that precious jewels. I was tired. And as usual, for ministers and preachers, many times you keep pouring into people and nobody remembers to say thank you or appreciate you, which we do need. We need encouragement. We need the thank you. This is an opportunity to say, we need the thank you. Many people remember us only when you have a need, when you have a prayer request, when there's something you're going through and you want somebody to support you. You can actually stop by. There were two ladies who used to do that many years ago. They stopped. They just stopped. I was so sure and so certain that at some point in the month, they will reach out to me and say, hey, Omobi, how are you doing? How is everybody? Are you okay? There were two single ladies. I think one of them, or probably both of them, are married now. So the responsibilities of marriage has taken them away. But it does help for you to just stop by and say, how are you doing? So now that I've said that, so I was a bit overwhelmed. I was very tired, felt very used up. And I went and had a rant to God. And I said, Lord, I'm tired. I mean, is it too much to ask for? Just somebody just say, um, hello, how are you doing, Omobi? How are things with you? I said, just a gift, just an appreciation, maybe like a perfume or something. Just somebody say, well done. That was what I said. And I packed my bag and I went to Australia. So when I arrived Australia, the pastor the church who invited me, the pastor's wife had to go for an exam on the Monday after the meeting. And she said to me, she said, oh, I've designated somebody to come and take you around town. And I thought, oh, interesting. I'll go around town. So the woman came, the woman who was to take me around town came and said, hello, Dr. Mobola, how are you doing? I've been allocated to support you today to show you around our city. And she said, but I've got my daughter with me. I think the daughter was like 3 or 4 and said, so we've got her for the day. I was like, oh, I love little girls. Come on, let's go. So she took me to the biggest shopping mall in the city. And when we got there, we're walking around, just, having a look around. And then at a point, the little girl said, mommy, I need a wee wee. So she said, please, ma, I need to take her to the bathroom. So they left me and I said, well, in between these 3 shops is where I would be. So we walked into a store. It was a jewelry store. It's a jewelry store that I had known in the UK. So I decided to feed my eyes and just have a little look around. So I walked in there and typical of me, those who shop with me, you probably know this. So I went and there was this beautiful piece. Oh gosh, it was so lovely. So I dwelt on that, jewelry for a while. It was a necklace. So I dwelt on the jewelry and I was like, oh, this is so nice. The kind of stores you go into and you have to call and ask for the price of the jewelry. So I spoke to the person, the shop attendant, how much is this? Tell me a bit more about it. And she did. And then I walked away. And shortly after that, my lady returned with her daughter. And I saw her beckon onto the shop attendant and say, there was a short conversation between them. And then I approached them and she said, pack it up. And I was like, what's happening? And she said, ma, it's for you. I said, what do you mean it's for me? And then she now asked the lady, does it have earrings? Does it come in a set? And the lady said yes. And she went in and brought the earrings for this necklace. And she said, can you pack it up too? I just stood there transfixed because that was the most expensive jewelry in that store. And without me saying anything to this woman, I moaned and I complained to my father, in secret, saying, I just, just a gift of appreciation will be good at this time. I even said, how, just a perfume will be good. So they packed this set up and gave it to me. Still shocked, still shocked. I was just going and I said, thank you so much, sis. Wow, you would do this? Why? As I asked why, I still didn't get the full message. As we're moving on, we got to a perfume shop and she said, oh, Omobi, let's have a look inside. So we went inside the perfume store and she said, Ma, can you have a look and see if there's anything you like? Ah, yeah. So I went in and I picked two perfumes and we left. And I said, my dear sis, you're spending so much money. This is a lot of money to spend on me. Remember, she wasn't the pastor who invited me. She was just the person that was allocated to help me out that day. This sister said to me, you have not finished the money that God allocated to you for this visit. So we have just started. And I thought, what on earth? This lady has just bought me a very expensive set of jewelries, and now she had bought me perfume. And when she mentioned that I had not finished spending the allocation, that was when I remembered what I asked of the Father. On that visit, almost everybody who gave me a gift after that woman gave me perfumes. And it was as though God was saying to me, you want perfume? I'm going to choke you with it. So that's another testimony. Another visit, that's number two. Another visit to Australia. When I arrived Australia, just before we came to London, the lady who was serving me came to me and said, Dr. Jeffries, do you want the good news or the good news? And I said, well, share the news. And she said, your luggage didn't make it. I had traveled to Australia with one suitcase that was checked in. And because I just wanted to be posh and travel light that particular journey, I didn't put anything that I was going to wear that was, a lot. So I had this small hand luggage, which I had the outfit that I was going to wear for the meeting in that luggage, sisters. So when they said to me that my luggage didn't arrive, I knew what that meant. All my skin things, all my, my shoes and everything else were inside that checked-in luggage. So I said, all right, I'll be fine. Got to the hotel. There on my bed in the hotel room were two boxes. So I was like, Pastor Kenny, oh, this is interesting. What is this? And she said, shoes for you, man. I said, what do you mean shoes? She said, I perceived that you would need shoes on this journey. I love Australia. I respect Australia, but shopping in Australia is different from shopping in the UK. Pastor Kenny had gone and bought two pairs of shoes, one black, one brown. She said, in case you preferred one color to the other. The thing that I needed most on that journey was a pair of shoes. The reason being that my shoes were in my checked-in luggage and my outfit for the conference was in my hand luggage. God sent shoes. They didn't buy me perfume. They didn't buy me jewelry. They bought me shoes, exactly what I needed for that situation. They did. So I don't know what it is. You're worried about the next step. You're worried about what is coming. God knows what you're going to need before the need arises. God arranged shoes. My necessity at that time, whatever it is that you need for the next step in life, God is able to provide. All right. Still traveling. I needed to go to Australia for a conference. And my husband said to me, Omobola, if you're not flying business class, you're not flying. I will not allow you to do this journey in economy. So he refused for me to book. And the people who invited me to Australia, I didn't want to ask them for travel money because I knew that this ministry, they were just starting off. So I was talking to God and I said, God, please, you need to sort out this travel. This woman kept asking me, I couldn't make any plans. I couldn't do anything. So I said, Father, are we going to do this journey or not? So that evening I was at work. I was doing a late shift and I was at work and decided to just check for flights. And I saw that my airline had sales on. A flight that was supposed to cost me about £5,000, 4,800. If I was flying upper class, they were doing sales, and it had come to about 2,000 something. So I said, God, this is your opportunity. If you want me on this journey to Australia, can you please sort this flight now? I don't know how long this is going to be on for. So that is it. So I closed the page and I called in my next patient. As soon as I said to the patient, "Good evening, I'm Dr. Jeffries. How can I help you today?" I heard bzzz, bzzz. That was my phone buzzing in the cabinet where it was kept. I was like, is everybody okay? What is this buzz about? Nobody's dying. Why are these messages coming? It was a sister from TPJ USA, and she said, "Hello, Omobi. Is there an urgent need that TPJ has? Does TPJ have an urgent need?" I said, "Yes, TPJ has an urgent need." She said, "Is it money?" I said, "Yes, it is money." And she said, "How much is it?" So I told her the equivalent. And she said, "I'll send half of it." I said, "What?" She said, "I will send half of it." Okay. I mean, God means business now. So I collected the half and I was waiting. A bit later on in my shift, I called one of my friends. I said, "Look, something happened today. Very weird." I said, "You know this journey to Australia? My husband said I'm not allowed to fly economy. There is upper class ticket on sale. But a lady just called me from the United States and said, does TPJ have an urgent need?" And she would meet it. And she sent half of the money. And my friend said, she sent half of the money. Ah, hey, said something is happening. I will not be left out. She said, "I will send half of what is remaining." I said, "Hey, you." No, she said, "I will send the remaining." I said, stay there. You are not the only one who needs supernatural intervention. You people have seen a fertile ground and you people want to be through. I said, we will do it like this. We'll share it in half. You pay half, I pay half. It is never going to happen that God is moving like this and I'll be left out. So she sent half of the half that was remaining, and I added the half. And by the end of that day, by the next morning, the flight ticket to Australia was booked. Are you a preacher? Has God called you? Has He given you work to do? God does not leave you without any help. This is an encouragement to tell you this morning that yes, when God sends on an errand, He backs up. That is a supernatural provision of a ticket money for a journey that God has sent me. I don't know how many I've said now. I think that should probably be number 4 or number 5. I was traveling to Abuja in Nigeria. And when I arrived, I was advised that there were no assistants to help with luggage. And you know, Mobile Jeffries, I travel posh. And I said, there's no way I'm going to carry all these 32-kilogram suitcases. No way. When we came out to the plane, cleared immigration, there were a few men standing in the waiting hall for the luggage. And of course, I traveled like Omobola Jeffries, very simple. And I noticed that these men were walking towards the women who flew in the same class with me, but they were dressed up like mummies. So they were asking these people, do you need help with your luggage? Nobody asked me. So I said, "Lord, you mean I'm going to leave these suitcases by myself? There's no way I'm going to leave this suitcase by myself. No way." So I stood waiting. What I was waiting for, I don't even know. As I waited there, a gentleman appeared and said, "Would you need some help with your luggage?" I said, "Yes." I knew God had booked an appointment for me. So he collected some money, went and paid for the trolley, came and put my suitcases on his trolley. And as we were going, I started to question him about the woman he was just about to get married to. So I said to him, I said, so you're the one that God chose. I said, why are you helping with my luggage? It is because God wanted me to talk to you this morning. So if I finished that consultation, we got outside. As we got outside, it was still very early hours of the morning. And of course, you know what it is, security. And my mind was already playing games on me. As the driver who picked me drove, as he was driving out of the airport, a, an army vehicle pulled up in front of us and turned their light on. I had asked for an escort. I had asked for protection. I had asked, for a guidance, assistance. But maybe I was not specific enough. I had asked. So when this person pulled up in front of us and drove, it was like an entourage. There were armed men, they had their guns, they had the lights on, and my driver just followed. I now said, why is this person driving in front of us? The driver replied me and said, maybe God was the one who sent them because there is no reason they should be on this road at this time. Believe it or not, my dear sisters, as I turned, or the driver turned towards my hotel, the guard in front of us, the entourage car in front of us, drove on their way and turned their siren light off. That was how God supernaturally gave me somebody to help with my luggage at the airport and gave me an entourage that drove ahead of me to get to my hotel. Next testimony. About 8 years ago, that Precious Jewels had a meeting in Belgium, and we needed to get to Belgium. My family was traveling, and we were going to go via ferry to Paris, and from Paris, we're going to drive down to Belgium. So when we were going on that journey, we noticed that we didn't really have many cars going ahead of us. It's a very busy route. We hadn't checked the weather forecast. So I now said to my husband, I said, did you notice that there's nobody in front of us and there's nobody at the back? But the road on the other side was very busy. So I put it on Google, weather forecast Dover, only to see that there had been a severe weather warning, that people who are living near the coast should move uptown because there was going to be a severe storm. But God had given me the date for Belgium conference, and that conference was going to hold on Saturday, and this was us on Friday heading out to Belgium on the sea. When I saw that, I said, oops, oops, what is this? Anyway, we went ahead and we got to the ferry. When we got there, there were not many people waiting because a lot of people had heard the news that they were not allowed to travel or they were discouraged from traveling. And we stayed in one place. The first hour went, the second hour went, the third hour went. And as I stood there just waiting for things to change, God reminded me that I was not only there, my husband was there, my children were there. And he said to me, I've calmed the storm before. You here are my representatives. If you're waiting for things to change on their own, they will never change. Isn't it high time you spoke to this storm? So I held hand with my husband, and our children touched us from the back. And we addressed the storm and we said, we need to go. Storm, be calm. 1 hour later, we were on the seas and we made it through on the ferry to Paris. When we arrived in Belgium, Sister Biodun, who was expecting us and organizing the conference, could not believe her eyes because they had given up, because the severe weather warning had said it was advised that nobody should get on the seas because the storm was there and it was going to be there for the next few days. So the supernatural provision that God made for me on that occasion was that He cleared the way for me to go through. Now, I'll share a few more. I don't know. I don't know if you've lost count just like me. I normally travel, even when I'm going to hotels that are very expensive. I have a few things that I must have in my bag. One of them is my house coat. My house coat is just like, a comfort place for me. The hotels have their own, but I normally like it. It's just the way it is. So on this particular journey, because I was struggling with luggage, I decided that I was going to leave my house coat at home. But I missed my house coat because I was traveling to two cities. So when I got to the first city, I said, "Oh, let me go get something." But I thought, no, I'm not going to because I'm still going to struggle with luggage from here to the other city. But I said, God, I really would like a house coat. I want something that is personal to me, that is very comfy. When I arrived at the second city, the TPJ coordinator, it was in Saskatoon. The TPJ coordinator in that city said to me, Omobi, I got you something. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. What did you have? And she gave me the package and I opened it. And right there in my hand was a lovely, really lovely house coat. She did not stop at getting me a house coat. I told God I wanted because it was very personal. Right on the back of that house coat was Dr. Jeffries written on it. Oh, I broke down and I hugged her. I said, when I was asking the Lord for a personal house coat, I didn't think about. I mean, people have given me house coats they've given me TPJ personalized house coats, they've given me or Mobi house coat, but this one had Dr. Jeffries on it. And it was such a beautiful, cozy gift that God had given me. I'll share another one. I wanted to do this for about 30 minutes. I don't know how many I've spoken. I don't know if you're counting. So God sent me to Bahrain last year. And on arrival in Bahrain, I found out that my checked-in luggage didn't make it. And I didn't have anything else. There was nothing. There was no skincare. There was no body cream, nothing. And there was no dress and there were no shoes. I had a handbag and a checked in luggage because it was one flight. We weren't stopping anywhere. So there was nothing like, oh, my luggage may be lost and everything. So when the airline told me that my luggage didn't make it, I went to my hotel, try and make myself comfortable for the night. In the morning, I said, Father, so how are we going to do it? This is a 2-day, 3-day conference, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This is not funny. How are we going to do conference when there's nothing to wear? There's even nothing to change into, not even for hygiene purposes. I said, well, how are you going to do this? I don't know, but I know you figure it out. So can we please get a dress? I said this as I sat down at the dining in that hotel. I said, can we get a dress? Can we at least get a dress for this evening? Sisters, I said that to God, got up from the table, served myself breakfast, sat down to eat my breakfast, and there was a message. It was a UK jewel. And she said, hello, Mobi. Does TPJ have a need now? I said, TPJ indeed has a need. She said, okay, account details, please. I'll send the money. She sent £200. I said, £200. That will do something. That will get me a dress. That will get me, probably I was going to wear my trainers, which I wore to travel. That will get me a few things that I needed, some lingerie and things like that. The hotel that I was checked into was within a shopping mall in Bahrain. So after breakfast, got up and went into the shops. I bought myself a very nice dress, got myself a few things to wear inside my very nice dress. But by that time, because of the exchange rates between Bahrain and the UK, there wasn't a lot of money left. So I thought, well, it's all right. Vaseline would always be good. After all, it's not every day that one should be wearing red lipstick. Uh-huh. So got myself together and I was leaving the store. As I was walking towards the exit of the store, a Bahrainian woman walked towards me and said, "Hello, is there anything you need help with?" Ah, Amy, ha, is there anything I need help with? I said, yes. I'm visiting, these were my exact words. I'm visiting your country for the very first time. My luggage got delayed, so I do not have access to my usual skincare. And this lady said, "Follow me." And I followed her. And she said, "What do you usually use?" And I told her, "I use this, I use this, I use this, I use this." I look, this woman, the ones that were in the store, she made available. The ones that were not in the store, she gave me an alternative. There was one in particular that I really liked, and I decided that I was paying for. This woman gathered all the things, took them to the till, and spoke to the person at the till in their language, and said, "Take care. I hope you enjoy your visit." And this woman sorted out the needs that I had for that day. I carried my shopping bag, matched it with my shopping dress and the things that I had bought and paid for, and I walked out of the store in Bahrain. This is the final one. I don't know if I've spoken, if I've shared 10. You probably too have lost counts like I've lost count. Well, I'll share two more. Two more. I was going to, I was planning a journey to Canada and I needed some money because my daughter, who very rarely makes any demands of me, wanted me to do some shopping for her, and she gave me a shopping list. Oh, very weird. My daughter will almost always be like, "I don't need anything." My son will be like, "I don't need anything. No, 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 I'm all right." So my daughter said, "Mom, I've sent you a list of the things you need to buy." And I had a look at that list and I was like, "Good Lord, how do I do this? We have two meetings in Canada. The money in TPJ Canada at the moment cannot even do anything. My personal money in Canada has to go towards this." So I gathered myself together and I was like, "God, you're the one who can help me." A few days before the travel, God said to me to call an urgent prayer. I called an urgent prayer. I was tired. I got back from work about 7:30. The prayer was at 8. My flight, I was supposed to leave home about 3 o'clock. So and I'd not finished packing and I was so tired. And I said, "Lord, this is very inconvenient. Very, very inconvenient. Of all days, you could have told me to hold this prayer when I get to Canada. You could have, but anyway, I'll do it." So I called this prayer and we prayed. And as soon as we finished praying, I sat down on the sofa and a message came in on Instagram. And the lady said, "Hello, Omobi. Please send me your account details." And I said, "My account details." I said, "Why?" That was the question. I said, "Why?" And she said, "Please, it's your account details, not TPJ account details." I said, "Okay." So I sent her the account details. I asked where she was from, and she said she was from Canada. So I sent her the account details. And a few minutes later, I received an alert. When I saw the amount of money she sent, I said, "Please, sis, can I call you?" She said yes. So I put a call through. I said, "For many times in your life, I'm sure you've given gifts, you've sowed seed, you've been a blessing to people." I said, "I need to share with you the reason why you sent this money." I said, "Why, in the first instance, did this occur to you?" She said, "As you were praying, God said to me, the money that I had kept aside for pastor's appreciation on Sunday belongs to Omobi." She said, she was like, "Really?" He said, "Yes." All the money, transfer it to Omobi. I said, hey, sis, so God said that to you and you obeyed. I said, well, let me share with you my own obedience. I said, I'm tired. I'm flying in the next few hours. My luggage is not packed. I came in from work 30 minutes ago. I'm absolutely exhausted. I said, but God said, I should call a prayer tonight. In the process of me doing what He told me to do, you picked that you should give me a gift. I said, my obedience prompted your obedience. I said, there is somebody whose obedience is waiting on yours, and God will connect you with that person. And I prayed for her. I went to Canada, and the things that my daughter listed in a shopping list, I got them. And when I finished shopping, the receipt was 2 cents. I think it's cents they use in as their small money. 2 cents less than the money that this jewel had given me. My daughter had a need. God knew that being a parent, it would break my heart if I couldn't meet her need. You're listening to me today. You're wondering, how do I pay children's school fees? How do I meet the needs of my children? God heard me and He met that need. The final one is a testimony of God's supernatural provision for my family through me. Whew. I hope we've reached 10. If we haven't, this is where I'm going to stop after sharing this one. It was a very busy year that year, and I had traveled a lot. And you know what that means? When I travel, when God says go to this place, I go to that place, I go. It's a lot of time away from home. So I promised my children that I was going to get them a luxury holiday. And that included the flight. But when I had a look at the luxury flight for my whole family, it was so much. But I'm a mother and I didn't want to go back on my words. Because when I relate with my children, I'm building confidence in them that a parent will make good their promise at all costs. That is teaching them that when God says anything to them in the Bible, He will watch over it and He will bring it to pass no matter what happens. So I told them, I said, you're having a luxury holiday in summer. So I was waiting for the money for this luxury holiday. I was waiting. The luxury holiday was in August. May went, June went, July. By which time, as you would expect, those who fly a lot, flight prices had gone up. The whole flights for the family were now in their thousands. But I promised. So I said to God, you have never failed. I told you that these children need to be compensated. Because everywhere you've sent me, I've gone. I just need them to just feel special because I'm not always at home. And that is not a lot to ask. For the first time in my life, I put a credit card to buy that holiday. And I told God, this is your debt. You will sort it. I don't use my credit card to buy shoe. I don't use it to buy bag. I don't use it. I said, no, I don't. I said, you owe these children because I'm always leaving them to go. We got on the holiday. Day 4 of the holiday, I was just sat in the hotel room chatting with my husband when I received an alert from the United States. I just went like this. And I just sank onto the chair that was beside me. My husband rushed to me and said, Womabala, what's that? What's that? What's that? I said, I just handed my phone. I said, see. He said, what is it? I said, I don't know who did this. So I traced the money. And the bank in the United States contacted me because they were wondering what the source of the money was. So I traced the money and I contacted the person who sent the money. And I said, who are you? And why would you transfer that amount of money to me? And she said, "Ma'am, I followed you for a long time." She said, "A couple of months ago, I was in my house and the Lord said to transfer that money for a need, and said, I hesitated because of the amount. Said, I then called my husband and I said, this is the amount of money God said I should give to this woman who is always praying online." And my husband said, well, if you are hesitant and you're not sure, give it time. Said, I have sat on this money for 3 months. Nothing is moving. It is time for me to release the money. The money that this woman transferred under the instruction of God, when translated to pounds, covered the luxury holiday which I had asked God to give my family. That is the last testimony I'll share on this occasion. If you ask me for a list, there are so many. I told my husband one time that I pulled back from sharing testimonies at times because, one, it seems like serving God is all about provision, 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 provision. The provision that God is giving, there are perks of our relationship. You're joining me today and you have needs in your life. I need you to look at the trail of the testimonies I have shared. I did not beg for any of them. I did not beg any man. I did not beg anybody. There are testimonies of me asking God for provision, and God led me to ask people. Take that on very few occasions. And maybe the next time I share this, I'll be sharing with you one or two of those. But all these ones I've shared, they have been a discussion between God and God keeping his part of the contract. What do you need? Number one, stop begging people. Anybody you beg to give you would always say, I helped them. And then they can do what Yorubas called finishiregun. They will throw it in your face when it happens later. All these testimonies have been born out of relationship. All these testimonies have been born out of obedience, out of contract with God. Delight yourself in the Lord, and it will grant you the desires of your heart. Then those desires still have to be in line with the will of God. If you stumble on this video because somebody shared it, and you're wondering that, oh, maybe it's because I'm this, I'm that, the only difference between you and I is that, one, I waited and I trusted, and I was very sure that God was going to turn up. I kept my part of the contract and God kept his. Were there times when I felt like, ooh, will this work? Yes. Like when we got on the ferry to Paris. Were there times when I was a bit confused as to what will happen? Yes, there were many. But I've just shared with you. It seemed like it was very easy, but some of them were what they call heart attack testimonies. The remaining heart attack testimonies, I'll find time to share with you. God is a provider. If He did for me, He will do for you if He is your daddy. He is my daddy. From Ralph Lauren blazer to getting shoes ready, to giving me makeup in Bahrain, to first class ticket that I didn't pay for, to brand new car that I was not expecting. All of these things are things that God has done. And He paid for my family holiday. And what was His reason for paying? Because I'm always going wherever He sends me, and I wanted my family to enjoy a little luxury because their mother has been obedient. God is able to meet your need. No matter what the need is, He is able to meet your need. I hope this has encouraged you, and I hope you can share it with somebody so that whoever sees this will be reminded of the many things that God is able to do. God bless you and have a lovely day.